Another show that's back, first time in a few years. Righteous
Mhm.
Gemstones
Oh yeah.
returns. Uh, it premiered in September of 2019. How many episodes of that first season was it, like
Nine, I
eight,
think.
nine?
Yeah.
And I think pretty much we were like it had ups and downs throughout the season, but overall we really enjoyed the ride with it. Obviously, sitting with comic geniuses like Danny McBride, Adam Devine, Edie Patterson, I think was a clear standout from the
Oh
season.
yeah.
John Goodman, of course, always a welcome presence on screen. Lot to like there. Um, you get Walton Goggins and Danny McBride teaming up since was the vice principals, and
Hmm.
um, that was a good back and forth between them. Season two, two 3 years later now, two and a
Yeah.
few months. But what did you think of this premiere last night? You get two episodes.
Yeah. Just happy to have the show back because I think the overall premise, the overall concept of the show is just really appealing for a comedy show. It still makes sense, if there's that creative triforce of David Gordon Green, Jody Hill, and Danny McBride, eastbound and down to vice principals to righteous gemstones. It's a really self-aware show that still doesn't shy away from some of that classic Danny McBride raw humor that you expect from him, and just seeing the lampooning of the grifters that are televangelists. It's just really smart, but also really fun to be with. We kind of got this subject matter a little bit with the Eyes of Tammy Faye in this past fall, a movie that is successful in some manner and less so in others. But I feel like Gemstones, just there's just so much room for each member of the ensemble to just have meaningful arcs, or at the very least, just be really funny to be with. That I just think it's really fun.
Yeah, I agree. The concept of it, there's so much meat on that bone, and just if you come for just the absurd mega church performances and gimmicks that they come up with and how ridiculous that is, or you actually stay for these uh the infighting, the family infighting, and
Right.
the like dumb succession almost like aspect
Yeah.
of the show. It's really enjoyable to be with these characters. Danny McBride's a actor who it can be hit or miss for me. I think sometimes he can be like so over the top that it's like I don't really love his shtick, and then sometimes he can tone it back a little bit, and it really works well. And I feel like he finds a really good sweet spot, especially in these first two episodes of season two, where he's ludicrous and ridiculous. Him talking to his oldest son about his younger son, uh, finding himself and jerking off, and how his older son has to talk to him about it, explaining it. Just hilarious, and it feels like he really, at least for me, really finds the sweet spot in this show. Especially in season two so far, I've really enjoyed him. What aspects of the premiere, the first two episodes of the season, have really caught you or stood out to you?
Well, I think the conflict that's being established with a journalist who has a problem with televangelists and wants to expose the hypocrisy, played by Jason Schwartzman, and that's a really smart conflict to insert here. And I think it might have a good use with the audience where you just keep exposing why these are bad people that we just happen to like being with because they're all funny and they do stupid shit. But exposing why they're also bad, and doing it in a meaningful way, if that's where it goes, gives the righteous gemstones a place to kind of like level up his commentary beyond just the obvious lampooning. So I'm curious to see where those through lines go, because I know the ensemble stuff will be pretty consistent.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes too. It seems like from what we saw at the end, I'm interested to see is Schwartzman going to be in this? Because
Yeah, he had guest actor credit after the first episode, so it doesn't seem like it's going to be the whole
yeah,
season. I mean, you also have Goodman getting in that fight, which I have to imagine is going to be used against him down the line, given what happened to the other preacher that they set up with the beginning of the premiere. So they're setting up all these threats, and maybe Schwartzman's just kind of part of it. The way like Eric Andre seemingly is also kind of part of it this time.
Yeah, well, at the end of the second episode, they go to that house and they see all the blood and
Hmm.
the it seems like Schwartzman might be dead at this point, which would be too bad if he's really just like a few scenes and he's done. I imagine that might be something to throw us off the scent a little bit because to get him for 2 episodes only would be like a bit surprising. It feels like. Um, I love seeing Eric Andre pop in. I thought he was absolutely hilarious in this, and we talked about how his stand up was something that was a bit hard for us to get into at
Yeah,
points, but I thought the way he played his role as the listen, whatever his
yeah,
name is, Glendon Listen.
the West Coast version of the Gemstones, basically.
Yeah, I thought that was, or Lyle Listen, that's what it was was really well done. And uh, I'm interested to see how he comes back into the fold of this. 'Cause I don't think he's going to be someone that's just a few episodes and then done for this season at least.
Yeah, honestly, it's per Eric Andre standards, it's a bit restrained,
Yeah,
but it still seemed to fit in.
absolutely. Yeah, I think you also mentioned Eric Roberts here, and it's not. I feel like I've seen him in so many things. He's always kind of been like a that guy in a lot of things, to me at least. And I had never seen him perform like this in a lot of the things I feel like I've seen him. He's been kind of like the smoldering villain or like smoldering like other guy to like a love interest or something like that. He
Mm,
was like so wildly like silly and absurdist in this. I think he's really having a lot of fun just kind of letting himself go out there and be out there.
yeah.
Um another aspect of the show that I find really interesting, and I don't know if you noticed this, but Evie's husband, first of all, he might be like my favorite like big character in the show. Him like drinking the glass of milk out of a wine glass at family dinner is just absolutely ridiculous to me. I just like burst out laughing when I saw it. He was like swishing it around too, which I just thought was so stupid. But then also like Edie and him ride up in a golf cart and he's like holding on to the emergency bar. It's like it's so dumb. But then when in the second episode when the three gemstone siblings are about to go confront the reporter and
Mhm.
he's like, "Oh, am I going to come with?" He was like on the phone like with I feel like either like talking to somebody or trying to like record them or something. That really like stood out to me. I feel like he might
Mm,
be pulled into the fold here because it also seemed like Cassidy Freeman, who plays Danny McBride's wife Amber,
right.
it seems like she's getting a little bit more shine this season
Yeah.
too. So they might be pulling some of these tertiary characters in more.
Yeah. I'd also like to see what Skylar Gisando has up, what they have him up to as McBride's oldest. Obviously, he's been on the rise, big part in Licorice Pizza recently. So very charming in that movie. So he has, bit of plot in season one, although it's not like I think the best part about the show or anything. So I'm curious to see what happens that because he's in the family fold right now, right? Obviously, it's a
Yeah.
huge change from the first season.
By the way, I just want to say his name is Tim Baltz, the character who plays BJ, Judy's
Mm,
husband. And probably my favorite like joke of the whole thing was them talking about how they got married at Disney World
yeah,
and had Prince Eric officiate. Couldn't even get an A level, legendary or
Mickey
whatever.
fucking Mouse.
Fuck Mickey Mouse. Hilarious. Just so good. The show is great. The writing is great. I'm really excited to see where it goes. So we'll be checking back in with Gemstones as the season wraps up.